Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Learning with Jelly. So, today is going to be a brief intro to our second data type of floats. Our first lesson, we talked about integers and how to assign variables to integers. And during this lesson, we're going to talk a little bit more about those floating decimal point numbers. So, our agenda for today is we're going to define a float, look at some examples of data that may be stored as floats, and then assign variables to floats in Python. We're also going to take a look at the type function so that you can quickly check in Python what data type or variable type you are working with. So, flashback, recall Python data types. So, integers are those whole numbers, including zeros, and floats are those floating decimal point numbers. We also have text, Boolean, sequences, etc. But we're going to focus on floats for today. So, some examples of data that may be stored as floats that you may work with inside data sets are weight, such as 120.9 pounds, temperature, such as 54.3 Fahrenheit, as well as income, such as $45.2 thousand. All of these have decimals and are thus floating point numbers. Remember, you can assign variables, also known as objects, by using the equal sign. So we're going to assign a variable num and set it equal to the float 10.5. So I'm just going to backspace none. And then remember, we can print off our actual variables by using that print built-in function. We know that it's a built-in function because it turns green. And there you have it. We have 10.5. So introducing the type built-in function. So Python has this built-in function called type that allows you to check the variable's type. And this is going to be very beneficial when we're exploring data so we know exactly what type of variables we're working with. So I'm going to go ahead and call type on the previous variable that we just created, which was num. And when I do that, I see that it returns a float. I can also assign a value such as x to an integer that we learned in the previous lesson, and then call type on that actual x. And I see that that is an int. And it will always print out the last thing that it sees on the screen unless you wrap both of these in a built-in print function. So I'm just going to wrap both of these in a built-in print function. And there we have it. The first one was a float, and the second one was an integer. So, in summary, I want you to remember as we go through this module, everything in Python is an object. So, those variables that we just created, x is an object, num is an object, and floats are those floating point numbers that have decimal points. The built in type function is going to allow us to check what variable we're working with, and this is going to be very important as we explore data frames. So, with that being said, that is our brief introduction to floating point numbers. Please like, comment, and subscribe to Learning with Jelly, and I'll see you on the next lesson. Bye bye.